Ciao amici e benvenuti nella peso sulla luna. Hello friends. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Now, if you are a returning visitor, you probably know that this is my series in which I use either Tarot de Marseille, Tarot de Marseille adjacent, or antique Italian decks to answer a question that I have pulled from my larger weekly Rider-Waite Smith-based tarot spread. So I lay a large spread out asking the question, how can we live our lives more intentionally every week? And I do a large video reading that spread. And then from that spread, I pull one question and I answer that question with just a few cards, usually 3. And this week, the title of this week's video was Flow to Evolution. It's a beautiful, beautiful spread and discussion of what an intentional life actually is. And if you want to see that video, I highly recommend watching that video before this one so you get an idea of where today's question has come from. If you want to see that video, I will put a card up here so that you can click on the card and jump over there, watch that video, and then come back over here to see what's going on. Now, from that larger spread, we got the idea of evolution, but evolution to the extent that our current selves dissolve, decompose. Now, I'm not actually talking about dying and reincarnating, but the idea of our present self may need to be lost to become the new evolved state of ourselves. Like the way the childhood selves, they have dissolved for us to become the adults that we are, hopefully. Now, some of us don't manage that. Some of us carry their childhood selves through adulthood, and we call them Peter Pans many of the time, right? So, but most of us are able to let the childhood self dissolve as we evolve into the adult version of ourselves, right? I assume that you've probably done the same. So that can be an uncomfortable thing. So the question is, when the call to evolution involves losing our current selves to occupy the new, how do we let go in love, joy, and gratitude? How do we avoid getting scared and uncomfortable and nervous and insecure, which are all possible reactions? And this week's larger spread says, be careful of that. That's going to lead you in a direction you don't want to go. So we want to be able to let our current selves dissolve and be happy at the same time, and be joyful, and be loving at the same time. How do we do that? So again, let me tell you the question. When the call to evolution involves losing our current selves to occupy the new, how do we let go in love, joy, and gratitude? So friends, I'm going to show you that question all written out so that you can read it. I will then show you the cards that came up, and then we'll talk about them, okay? Take a look. What do you think of this deck? Now, I wish that there had been more of a variety of cards that had come out so that you could see the breadth of the beauty of this deck. But the cards that came out are the cards that came out. And very interestingly, they came out in a very particular order, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But this deck, what is this deck? This is called the Budapest Tarot, and it's a deck that I've been wanting and recently have added to my library of antique Italian and Tarot de Marseille decks. So the Budapest Tarot, when we say the Budapest Tarot, where do you think it comes from? Okay, so no, it does not come from Hungary, which is what I would have thought. But no, it comes from Italy, which is why I began this video with an Italian introduction. It comes from Italy. It comes from probably around Venice. And this is an old deck. Yeah, it's new to my library, but the original is an old deck. They assume it's from the end of the 15th to the beginning of the 16th century, which would be late 1400s, early 1500s, which would be like just after the Visconti Sforza decks, perhaps. Which means this really is an old deck. And when we compare this to like the Visconti Sforza, it's hand painted, it's lush, it's gilded. I mean, they used gold on the cards, for God's sakes. They're an expensive deck. This deck can't be that expensive. It's a very rough woodcut print deck, right? Now, I'm not sure if the coloration is actually on target with the original, but still, the color is very simple. It's a very rudimentary pre-Tarot de Marseille deck. And it's rough. I love the roughness of it, but in its roughness, there's still a charm to it. Now, the faces of the people aren't as, I don't know, sometimes the Tarot de Marseille people look a little bit drugged out or harsh or just I don't know, angry. The people in this deck don't look nearly as angry as a lot of the Tarot de Marseille people look to me. And maybe it's just because it's Italian and I'm of Italian ancestry and maybe I understand these expressions a little bit more. But so, this is an Italian deck and an old one. And I love it. It's a small deck. Yeah? This is what the backs look like. And it's about the size of a noble. Let's see if I can reach my noble here. Okay, yeah, here's my noble. Noble cards from Artisan Tarot. I hadn't planned to do this, but let me just give you a size comparison. These cards are a little bit taller, but they're a little bit thinner than the deck of Jean Noble from Artisan Tarot. Now, this deck here, the one that we're using today, is from a wonderful artist and group of artists called, and I've forgotten their names. That's horrible. Let me see if I can find it here. Sullivan Hessman. The Sullivan Hessman group. Yes, that's it. Beautiful cards. They have this deck. They've got a few other decks that are just chef's kiss beautiful. Cardstock is nice. It's a waxy coat. They shuffle okay. They're a little bit pricey, but I'm not too afraid of damaging this deck by riffle shuffling it. I know some people would, but I'm okay with riffle shuffling it, just so you know. So, okay, deck talk is at an end. Let's look at the spread. So, when I laid these cards out, initially what I got was, from left to right, you saw the Page of Wands. I think this guy is just amazing. He's a rough cut, but still, there's a gentle beauty. There's a gentle beauty to him, I think, in that rough cut woodblock feeling to the deck. So yes, we've got the Page of Wands, and then the next card was the Four of Coins and then the Five of Coins. I was like, oh man, really? I shuffled this deck. I shuffled this deck more than once. I shuffled this deck a lot. And still, in the spread, I got the Page of Wands and then the Four of Coins and the Five of Coins in order. Strong statement, right? And then I saw that the Page of Wands was looking outside of the spread. And so I thought, well, as is my habit often, when a person card is looking outside of the spread, I want to see what that person is looking at. What's on their mind? And so I pulled an extra card, and what did I get? I got the Three of Pentacles. So we're going from right to left. I won't read it that way, but going from right to left, I've got the 5, the 4, the 3, descending order. Or in ascending order, from left to right, from the 3, the 4, the 5. With a page stuck in between. But the page is the most, I think, is the focal point of this spread. It's a person card. I like people. We're going to start with this card as the center as the focal point of the spread, and what's going on with this guy here. This guy, this gal, this non-binary person, this cis person, or this trans person, whatever. This person. What's going on with that person? So the way I'm going to read this is this page has this stuff that they have gone through, or the stuff that has been, and they have things that they're moving towards, the thing that is on their mind. So the stuff that has been are the 4 and 5. The thing that's on their mind is the 3. And remember, the question is about evolution. It's about evolution, but we still seem to be going in descending order. So what's up with that? We got a lot of things to work out here. But let's start again with the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is the young one, right? Now, in some decks, the pages are fairly old fogies. For example, the Tarot de Marseille, the pages are not necessarily young folk. They're sometimes old folk. But still, there's the inexperiencedness, the inexperience, that's how we speak English, the inexperience, the newness of the page's experience. The inexperience of the page's experience. You can work that out. So it's exploration, right? Excitement, freedom, that fresh feeling of discovering something new, the new passion, new things to create, new things to do. Wands for me are creativity, they're passion, they're also leadership. Maybe this page has the potential to begin a leadership role. But they're not sure about it because it's just the beginning. So there's a hesitation in the pages, right? Hesitation between doing and not doing. Should I not? I don't know yet. I'm still discovering. It's exciting, I'm exploring, but I'm still not sure. Create, don't create. I'm not sure. Energy needs to be channeled for this page to evolve. And remember, this is all about evolution, right? The need for refinement, need for sensitivity, need to feel the subtleties of what they are considering, what they want to do, and how they're feeling about it. Even though this isn't a cups card of emotion, still, there's a sensitivity to how this fire feels within me, this new fire. Which is a perfect way to imagine every day of our lives in our evolutionary journey of intention. Because we're never quite sure what the next evolutionary step is going to be like. Should I go, should I not? And that's what the beginning of the larger spread this week was about, is be careful. Be careful with that. Should I, shouldn't I? Yes, no, I don't know, maybe. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. That spread told us we want to commit. Do or don't do. And so this page is still there in that I haven't quite decided space. So how do I let go in joy and love? Well, what is this page letting go of? I think that's what those two cards behind the page are, the 4 and the 5 of coins. Now, the first one that we know that we want to let go of, which is perhaps easier to consider, is the 4 of coins. Stability, right? Conservation. Conservation is good. But conservation can also become a prison after time. Creating security is good. But again, that security can become a prison cell if we don't find a way out of it as well. The 4 is a territory whose working order is assured by not letting assets stagnate. Yes. Did that make sense? It's working order, it's stability, but stability with fluidity. Yeah? It's that the working order is assured by not letting the things in that working order stop and stagnate. Because when they stop and they stagnate, they begin to disintegrate. They begin to decompose. They begin to rot. So for something to actually be stable over time, there needs to be movement and evolution and life there. If it just stops and freezes, it starts to crumble and die. So for the 4 to really be effective, to really be able to be carried forward, there needs to be that motion, that life, that movement, the taking in and letting go. The inspiration and expiration, the inhalation and exhalation, the eating and defecating to stay alive. It's the life of the body, right? And it's also tradition and honor and reputation, yes. So, one thing we want to consider is this 4. The next thing we want to consider is this 5. Which is the breakout card, right? We break out from the 4 in the 5. Taking risks. Being innovative and enterprising and doing new stuff. Stuff that you're not really sure what's going to happen with it. Is it going to succeed? Is it not going to succeed? It's not something that I've tried before. Something new that will disrupt things. That's a disruptive card. It will disrupt the existing structures. It will disrupt this. Because the new element awakens resistance to what, something new that grows up, that sprouts within a stable structure, disrupts it. And that disruption causes resistance most of the time. It could also be the construction of a spiritual center for some people. Yeah, you see that the center is larger than the 4 around it. Yeah, this thing inside. In some Tarot de Marseille decks, they're all 4 coins are the same, and that one in the center, it's protected by plant growth sometimes. This one it's not, and this one in the center is it's right there. It's bigger than everything else, right? This new thing is bursting onto the scene, larger than life. And this could be the spiritual center. It could be the beginning of a new practice. So what do these 2 mean together? And what do they mean in relationship to this page? Well, again, that page is not sure, is not certain. Not really sure where they're going, right? Does that mean we want to leave these 2 things entirely behind? I would say no. I would say that we want to keep both of these in balance and in, not tension is not the right word. Not tension in the sense of tension, but tension in the sense of elastic band kind of tension where they're bound together, they're able to move apart and closer and apart and closer. That kind of balance in tension where things are mobile and flexible but still in balance. Does that make sense? Does this gesture help understand that this is the 4, this is the 5, and there's this elastic band that joins them, but they're able to move apart and closer dynamically, a dynamic balance. Kind of like the two of coins, right? With that band that wraps around, dynamic balance, right? So we want to hold these two in dynamic balance, maybe. Being careful that this one doesn't become rigid and start to weigh itself down and decompose from immobility. Nor that this one doesn't break things apart and shatter things to pieces as the new thing breaks free. We want the new thing to break free, but we want the structure to be maintained as well. So there's a delicate balance, a living balance, a dynamic balance that we want between these that will make this one able to evolve, have the stability for their evolution, but the breakthrough, the new spiritual center, which we were called to do, to rediscover as we move forward with our evolution. And so that if we can do that, then it doesn't have to be such a frightening thing. If we've got the base, if we've got that 4 there, within which we can evolve with the 5, it doesn't have to be frightening. We can do that with love, with joy, with gratitude. And we want to keep our attention on the 3. The 3. That's the 3, yeah, that is the 3. What is the 3 of coins to me? The 3 of coins is a starting point. Now the ace of coin, it's the new thing, it's the new opportunity. Now the 2, it's the new opportunity has started to split and it's getting ready to become something, but it's not something yet. So it's that pause between the new growth and actually the... Okay, so when a cell divides, first there's a cell, and then it splits, starts splitting. That's the 2, but it's not completely split. It hasn't created the new thing yet. There's a pause for reconfiguration, construction, for rediscovery, for assembling. That's the word, reassembling stuff. And then we move into the 3 where the first thing really begins to sprout. Now the sprout, for seed analogy, the sprout actually comes up from under the ground and starts seeing the light. So, starting a project, first gains from a project, the project being our evolution. Yeah? So it's the starting on the process of evolution and the first gains, and that's where we want to put our focus. Not on what we're losing, what may be disintegrating behind us, but what is in front of us. And our ability to release that evolution of ourselves into the world without knowing exactly if there are going to be buyers. Is anybody going to really like the new self? We don't know that, do we? We evolve not knowing what the reaction is going to be, and we want to keep our mind on allowing ourselves to be in the world without needing our product, being ourselves, to be bought. We don't know if anybody's going to buy the new self, but that's okay. Because the important thing is that we've put ourselves out there into the world. Not in other people's faces. We're not being aggressive about this. Look at me! But just putting ourselves out into the world. Not knowing if there are going to be buyers. Because it's so new, it's so different. It's making the decision to do something with unknown results. We don't know what's going to happen when we evolve. We don't know. We have faith. We believe that it will be an improvement, but we don't know exactly what that means, do we? It's also a partnership that bears fruit. A partnership, these two, that bears fruit. This one in the center. Whoa, I'm sorry, what am I showing you? This is what I wanted to be showing you. This partnership that bears fruit, this one in the center. I have been talking about the Three of Coins this time for a while now, right? Not the page, the Three of Coins. Now, this partnership bears something in the center. So what is this partnership according to this question of our evolution? What is the partnership? The partnership is between us and here in these bodies and the us that is the eternal nature co-creating this life in the physical body. The eternal nature having the human experience and the human experiencing us. Both of those can be the partners creating this new evolution. Or it could be the divine and us co-creating our evolution. That's where we want to put our attention. And if we do that, then we can evolve in joy, love, and gratitude. Does that make sense? With our stability, but not a rigid stability, a dynamic, active stability, and our breaking through, our enterprising, our pushing the boundaries, in both of those in dynamic balance in the present as we face and look forward to the Three of Coins, which is us putting our evolved selves out into the world without knowing what the reaction is going to be. Having that faith as well. How does that sound? Does that sound a little scary? Well, we can do it. We can do it because we know that we are eternal beings living these human lives. And that's what we're here to do. That is the purpose. That is the joy of our existence, right? So friends, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Does that make sense? Would you read this spread of 4 cards differently? Would you have not pulled that 4th card? Would you have stayed with these 3? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you have not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button if you have not hit it yet, so that YouTube knows that you liked this video and other people would like this video too. It helps draw more eyes to the channel. And again, comment below. If you want a private reading from me with either Tarot de Marseille, antique Italian decks, or anything else, Rider-Waite-Smith based decks, your choice. I have my email in the description box below. Send me an email and we can get you a reading, whatever kind of reading you want. Not that difficult. And so, friends, here we are. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.